You could feel the tension even before the cameras rolled that week. The whispers had grown louder, the glances sharper, and the silence between cast members thicker than ever. Then came the bombshell: Destiny Payton was gone. Not just stepping back, not quietly fading out. Fired. Cut loose. Someone had pulled the strings behind the scenes, and they were finally exposed. What nobody expected was that Martell's secret moves, those hidden by silence, manipulation, and whispered threats, would be the dagger that plunged her career into chaos. Imagine waking up one morning to your name trending not for a new victory, but for your downfall. Imagine hearing the network issued a statement saying they no longer believed your presence served the story. That's what Destiny faced. But to see how this all unfolded, how betrayal, jealousy, ambition, and fragile alliances collided, we have to walk backward, trace every move, every quiet push, until we reach the moment her world cracked open. She started off like many reality stars, with ambition in her eyes, a drive to be seen, and a circle of people who seemed loyal. Destiny Payton wasn't born into drama, but she walked into it. Early on, she made friends, built souls across the show, and earned credibility among fans as someone bold, honest, sometimes volatile but real. Over time, she claimed her space in the Love and Marriage, Huntsville universe. She wasn't the side character. She worked hard for visibility, for voice, for relevance. But that path was never smooth. The show's environment is a pressure cooker. Every move, every text, every glance can be weaponized. The cast is locked in under lights, under judgment, under constant editing. A misstep becomes a headline. A fragment of a conversation becomes a social media storm. For Destiny, there were long nights of worrying whether she said too much, vulnerable moments she wished stayed private, and days she questioned if all the sacrifice was worth it. Around her, alliances formed and dissolved. Friendships she trusted morphed into competition. She learned to smile while her back was being stabbed. If you watch these shows long enough, you learn that things are rarely what they seem. You learn that loyalty is conditional, that producers' lenses shift, that power quietly collects in corners. For Destiny, some of these lessons came too late. She also had a complicated relationship with Martell, a central figure in the cast's dynamics. Their interactions were always fraught, sometimes supportive, sometimes tense. Over time, rumors swirled of hidden conversations, off-camera deals, and a silent plan to control her narrative. Destiny suspected, but lacked proof. Others saw it. Some whispered about how Martell's influence with producers and network executives had grown behind the scenes. And then there was Melody, another towering presence in that world, someone whose journey resonated. Some speculated that Destiny and Melody's paths were destined to intersect in conflict. But Destiny never fully knew which side she was on. She just knew that in moments of tension, she often stood alone. Still, until recently, she held on. She countered critics, she posted bold statements, she lived raw. She believed in redemption, in comeback. And that hope carried her until the twist that nobody saw coming. It was subtle at first. A line cut in editing. A comment dropped from the script. A scene sweetened to make Destiny look impulsive or unstable. But beneath the surface, a more strategic war was underway. What nobody expected was that Martell had been maneuvering quietly, pulling strings with producers, planting doubts about her reliability, emphasizing controversies, steering conversations in her direction while cutting hers off. He had access and influence. He had allies. He had incentives. And for months, his moves had set a trap she never saw. It began in small moments. Destiny's conflicts with other cast members escalated faster than usual. Edits that had once presented her in a favorable light skewed. When she asked to clarify a controversial clip, she was told they didn't have the footage. When she sought to defend herself, she was interrupted by producers. Always, she was offered half the story, never the full narrative. Then came the limo incident, a pivotal turning point. There were rumors that, during a cast event, something happened in a limo, a provocative display, a hidden camera, a sudden escalation. Destiny later accused Melody of grooming, a word that shocked many in reference to something she claimed she learned from other cast members. That accusation, whether true or exaggerated, was enough to set off a chain reaction. Some dismissed it. Others erupted. The network grew uneasy. Social media exploded. Behind the scenes, Martell had reportedly fed producers parts of the story, presented Destiny's accusations as reckless, difficult, unstable. He painted her as someone who could go off script, someone who posed a liability. He reminded them of past tensions, hearsay, and his own perceived loyalty to the show's vision. Meanwhile, Destiny was isolated. Her calls went unanswered. Her pleas for fairness fell on ears already convinced. Then came the statement, Destiny Payton will no longer appear on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. The show's direction is shifting, and producers believe her storyline no longer aligns with creative goals. Just like that, she was out. Removed from promos. Erased from upcoming cast photos. Muted from interviews. She was no longer central. She was discarded. But what stings most is that this was never an accident. The sweet-looking outfit she wore that night on set, its cost absorbed by production. The offhand comment she made in a group chat leaked selectively. The moments she was shut down mid-defense but others allowed full rebuttals. All came together in a plan to marginalize her. In the end, the most public betrayal came not from a cast member, but from the system she trusted. And when she fought back, publicly posting cryptic messages, doing cautious interviews, the narrative was already set. Critics claimed she was unstable, attention-seeking, grasping. Even allies hesitated to defend her fully, fearing their own reputations. That, perhaps, was the cruelest blow, realizing that in the world she helped build, her disappearance felt like someone else's success. The emotional fallout has been enormous. For Destiny, it wasn't just losing a job. It felt like erasure. A career she built with late nights, candid confessions, viral moments, and audience trust all swept away in weeks. She's publicly questioning her value, her voice, her self-worth. In private, she struggles with the silence. The calls she used to get from fans, the DMs asking for insight, now quiet or hostile. The same people who once cheered her on are now debating whether she deserved it. Her relationships also took hits. Friends she trusted distanced themselves, citing fear or ambiguity. Cast members who were once close now act like strangers. The loyalty she thought she had was conditional. She's had sleepless nights, tears, days of head-slapping frustration. How did I miss these signs? Why did I stay quiet too long? Who is still on my side? Her family, children, siblings, parents are pulled into it. They watch headlines, brace for social media storms, endure private whispers. It's one thing to weather scandal yourself. It's another to see those you love become collateral damage. They want her to fight, to defend, but they also fear more pain. Professionally, this could be career-ending. Other shows might hesitate to cast someone labeled troublemaker. Sponsors could shy away. Audience perception is slippery. One moment you're a rising voice, the next, you're the story. Destiny's been trying to pivot, auditioning, launching personal content, collecting testimonies from fans, but the shadow of being fired looms heavy. Beyond that, the emotional weight accumulates. The betrayal from people she respected. The realization that influence isn't just about being loud, sometimes it's about being invisible. The regret of not walking away earlier. The anger at being used. The fear that her next move could erase her completely from public consciousness. Yet beneath all of that, there's still a spark. She's publicly insisted she'll fight for her truth. She's hinted at legal options. She's posted raw messages about hurt, resilience, and growth. Her smile sometimes cracks. Her voice shakes. But she keeps pressing post. She keeps answering DMs from fans who say we still got you. She's rewriting her narrative, even from the margins. In the end, what do we take from this story? Destiny Payton's firing wasn't just a production decision. It was the result of long-term betrayal, behind-the-scenes power plays, strategic character assassination, and a system that protects itself by discarding those who become inconvenient. Martell's secret moves, his quiet whispers, his influence with producers, his shaping of narrative were the invisible blow she never saw until it landed. And once it landed, she was already isolated. It's a reminder that in worlds where image is everything, the lines between friend and foe blur. That influence isn't always about being the loudest voice. Sometimes the most dangerous hands are those working in darkness. That loyalty, once thought unbreakable, can fracture with enough pressure. And worst of all, that a person's identity can get lost in the story someone else writes from the outside in. For Destiny, the road ahead is uncertain. The flame of her presence flickers in public memory. But those cracks can heal. Those losses can fuel new strength. If she dares to reclaim the narrative, people may return not out of obligation, but out of belief. And perhaps more powerfully, she might emerge stronger, wiser, uncompromising in truth. To viewers, this drama reminds us to question what we believe. To wonder who's shaping stories, what's edited, what's omitted. To see how fragile fame really is. But also to remember, you don't have to be loud to be heard, and you don't need someone else's permission to tell your own truth. The ending to Destiny Payton's story isn't just about a firing, it's about survival in an industry that thrives on chaos and betrayal. When you strip away the rumors, the edits, and the headlines, what's left is a woman who gave everything she had to a platform that eventually turned its back on her. Destiny entered love and marriage, Huntsville believing that her transparency would win hearts. She thought her honesty would protect her. But honesty doesn't always win in a world built on entertainment. The louder her truth became, the more dangerous she became to the people who wanted control. In many ways, Destiny's downfall was written the moment she started questioning the narrative. The minute she stopped playing along, the machine moved against her. Martell's quiet maneuvers weren't just personal, they were strategic. He knew how to charm producers, when to plant seeds, and how to make his version of events sound like fact. And when you hold that kind of influence, you don't have to destroy someone publicly. You just let the right whispers do the work. That's exactly what happened. Destiny's every move was used as evidence against her. Her frustration was labeled aggression. Her silence was called guilt. Her passion was edited into arrogance. By the time she realized what was happening, the audience had already chosen sides. And in reality television, perception becomes reality. The woman who once lit up the screen with confidence now had to watch as her image was dismantled piece by people who once called her a friend. But even after the cameras stopped rolling, Destiny's story didn't end. She took time away from the spotlight, faced her pain, and started rebuilding quietly. She began focusing on her businesses, reconnecting with people who loved her long before the fame. She's been posting less, talking less, and moving with more intention. It's not silence out of defeat, it's silence that comes from peace. Because sometimes, peace is the loudest comeback. And while Martell might have won the short game securing influence and saving face, the long game tells a different story. The same tactics that tore Destiny down are slowly circling back to him. People see through manipulation now. Fans are smarter. They know how production works. They know when someone's playing victim. And slowly, that illusion of control he once had is starting to crack. For Destiny, her next chapter isn't about revenge, it's about redemption. She's learning that closure doesn't come from exposing others, it comes from finding strength within yourself. She may never return to that stage, but maybe that's a blessing in disguise. Because some platforms aren't meant for truth tellers. Some rooms can't hold real growth.